So we got the melody in the last video. Now we're gonna put in some chords. Um, so I just pulled this image off. This is in the canvas too, where it shows you um, the so Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is in the key of C. For the Twinkle Twinkle part, we have chord C, and then it goes to Little, which is key F major chord, Star, back to C. The how, and then when it descends, How I Wonder What You Are, we go F, C, G, C. Um, so we're just going to deal with that first part real quick. Now I'm going to move this off the screen. So we have our track. Now we want to make a second track. Now there's two things you can do. You can click this plus to do a new track like we just did when we started our first track. But I want to have another piano track. So if I already know I have my piano track, you can hit this button next to it, which is New Track with Duplicate Settings. So if I create that, we have another Yamaha grand piano. If I double click here, I can change it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Chords. Okay. So if I wanted to play the chords in, for those of you who have musical experience, so these are all major chords. So the first chord is C major, which is, if you look at this keyboard right here, a major chord. So basically, you start at C, you go up a third, which would be E, major third, and then up to the G. So we have the root, third, fifth. We're in the key of C, C major. So it's basically from C, all the white notes. So the first note, the third note, the fifth note. So, and then it goes to the 4 chord, which is an F. So starting on F, and then up a third, G, or a C. So root, third, fifth of F, and then back to C. Okay? So I'm going to do one take of this real quick so you can just hear it. So that's the first part. Now, something that's even easier, and we're going to use some technology here. So I'm just going to do, I wonder if I can do it with this in there. Probably not. Okay. So let me move this over so I can see it. But I'm just going to deal with these roots. I'm just going to play these notes, the C, F, G, F, C, G, C, C, G, C, G, C. So I'm just going to play along with those notes and just play the bass notes, okay? And then we're going to use some technology. So here we go. Up. Okay, so I did make a mistake, as you all probably heard, but this is why MIDI is so good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go quantize all of these notes to the quarter note like we did before, and let's just listen back. So this is the wrong note. This note should have been right here. So this actually this C should have gone for the whole bar. So this is a great thing about MIDI and stuff we can change. So I'm just going to delete that note, and I'm going to take this C and extend it to here. So let's hear this part. Okay, and also my melody stops here at bar 15, so I'm going to make my chords stop on bar 15 as well. Okay, so now I'm going to want to add some chords here. So we're going to use, and so as I mentioned before, notice how I click on track 1, Yamaha Grand Piano, you see this channel strip. As I click on track 2, the chords, you see this channel strip. Now, if you click under MIDI effects on Logic, you have what we call the chord trigger. So we're going to pull this up, and you're going to select from the pull down menu, select single, triads, major. These are all major chords. So as we play a C on the keyboard, we're actually triggering a C major chord, right? So all we're playing is C on the piano keyboard, but we're actually getting chords. Okay, so it's good for people like me who play drums and don't really play good piano. So now let's just as is in Canvas, these little buttons. This is mute. The M is for mute. S is for solo. So we're gonna solo just this track and listen to it. So we have chords now without having to play them. All we had to play was the root or the name, the name of the chord. We played a C for a C major triad. Okay, so now if we put this together, okay, so we're going to add a bass part. Okay, so if we had a bass guitar, somebody playing in the section, so we're going to add a new instrument, empty channel strip, open library. So we're going to add bass, and let's pick fingerstyle bass. And so that's going to load it up. So now if we touch the keyboard, we're hearing the bass guitar. Okay? So now we already played all the roots to these. We played the roots to all these chords. That's normally what the bass player would play. So we're going to take our chord track, starting at bar 3. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste it down there. So now if we listen to this, okay, so we have the solo, we have the bass. Now, one thing is we start learning about instruments and what they do. So this, where we played it on the piano, is a little high for the bass guitar. So if we solo out, so we have all these notes. Now if you see, this first note starts on C3. I'm gonna highlight all of these notes like that, and I'm gonna drag them down to C2. Okay, so now this is where a bass should be. Okay, so now we have the basis of the melody, and we have a lead line, we have some piano chords behind it, and we also have an electric bass behind it. Okay, so that's where this episode is going to stop right now, and then on the next video we're going to talk about adding in a drum part and maybe doing a little bit more effects with this.